Thank you for being here and welcome. We are here to emphasize Rob's Top 10, understand it a little bit better, get into what they each mean to each of us, how we came about Rob's Top 10, and we're looking to relaunch and rebrand it, update it a little bit, and get some stories from you guys about how you use it every day. Carlos, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your history with First Communities and where you're currently at?
I started with First Communities 13 years ago, and now I'm a community manager. Currently, I'm at Liberty Point, which is 181 apartment homes. I love where I work, and I love the company I work for.
Amanda, thank you for being here. Would love to hear your story, how long you've been with First Communities.
So I have been in this industry for 9 years. I have been with First Communities for 3 years now. I absolutely love this company.
Well, Rob, thank you for being here. Obviously, Rob's Top 10 has your name all over it. We're excited to have you here and have you help us rebrand and update Rob's Top 10 so that we can properly re-emphasize it. It's something that is ingrained in who we are as a company, and I'd love for you to take us through the concept, how you came up with the concept of Rob's Top 10.
Well, thank you for having me here today. It's been a joy the last couple years watching the new leadership at First Communities take it to levels I never thought possible, so congratulations to all the team for what you have done. When we started First Community in late 1977, 1978, we literally started with 3 communities, but I didn't have a shred of a piece of paper outlining any policies and procedures. I went on a mad dash for those first couple years on trying to do what every other company was doing, which was build a massive policy and procedure manual. And we got up to about 1,200 pages. And what I failed to understand was that a 1,200-page book, people are not going to read. One day I was flying to the West Coast, and I was watching the pilot and the co-pilot going through a checklist. I walked up to them and I said, "My gosh, how long have you been a pilot?" He said, 35 years with Delta. I said, "What is the point of this checklist?" He says, "It makes us focus on what's important." I took that 1,200 or 1,300 pages and just used some common sense and thought about what is it does an on-site community manager should be focusing on each and every day to get their team motivated and inspired to go forward. We ended up with a card that had 10 principles on it, all of which are common sense and all of which we as consumers. And so from there, that set us off, and we noticed an immediate new culture begin because people understood what we were all striving to do.
Well, I think that's amazing. It's an amazing story, and the idea of being able to reference something in its most basic and simplistic form to reset ourselves consistently to what we ultimately know as operators to be able to drive value at your respective sites, right? That's ultimately what I think the beauty of Rob's Top 10 is. The industry has evolved. That's why we wanted to take a hard look, Rob, you and I and some others here at First Communities, take a hard look at Rob's Top 10, and let's see where we can update it to basically be relevant to today's technology and naming conventions of different approaches to what we do. So one of the reasons why we wanted to have both of you here today, one, you represent a couple different things, right? Carlos, you've been with us for 13 years. You're on a slightly older asset in a different part of Atlanta. Amanda, you've been with us for only 3 years, a mid-rise in Midtown Atlanta, very competitive market. Demographics are different. And one of the things that I think is, again, unique and so valuable about Rob's Top 10 is the ability to, it transcends age of property, property type, tenured employee versus somebody that might just have started with First Communities, right? So it's something that's adaptable. And take us through some experiences that you've had with Rob's Top 10 and how you utilize it.
I actually just came from a property in Sandy Springs that was sold, and I was transferred to a property that I'm at now. And with Rob's Top 10, if you implement that into every property that you go, you don't feel so overwhelmed. You feel like if you follow the structure, it really is the lifeline of not only the resident, but your community as well. From 1 to 10, no matter what order you use it, you're able to follow these guidelines and use them as a tool to give you order and set the tone for your team and get results.
Carlos, you mentioned something too earlier. When you have a new move-in, you take them through an orientation. Is that what you called it, right?
Yes, a move-in orientation.
A move-in orientation, which I think is fantastic. And a great example of utilizing one of Rob's top 10 points, and that's customer service, right?
We kind of set the tone for them, letting them know what our expectations are as them as a resident and what they can expect from us as the management as well. We also let them know that we are available for them, and we remind them that we're not just here to collect your rent, we're here to also provide you with a service.
Great.
Yeah,
That's great.
That goes into qualifying your residents, you know. It allows for people to know exactly, you know, what it takes to be a part of our community.
Mm-hmm. Rob, we talked a little bit about the complexity and the evolution of our industry. Can you tell us about using Rob's Top 10 in an upmarket and maybe how we can utilize it to its fullest in a down market as well?
After observing this company and the industry over the last 5 or 10 years, that technology has an extremely short shelf life. What was accepted practice or procedure, software, application today is not applicable a week from now or a month from now. So things are evolving and changing so much that I find that the industry is asking community managers a stupendous amount of information and task requirements to fulfill. Mm-hmm. And I'm really of the opinion now that if so many things, if everything is important, then really nothing is important. And this is a beautiful way, in this age of technology, of ever-changing, there is simplicity that's time-tested and true that one can fall back on. Mm-hmm. Yes, they got to do the sodas. Yes, they got to do all the input and do all the reports. But if we're not meeting our objectives of getting the very best people, train them the very best, have market pricing, and having the best product, all it would be for naught. So mm-hmm. I would argue very strenuously that these top 10 are the foundation and bedrock of this community, as it should be every management company.
Why don't we just take us through Rob's Top 10 real quick. Carlos, we'll start with you.
So actually the first 5 are to attract a prospect into our community and getting them to lease a home. Results-based marketing, curb appeal, welcoming and professional team, immaculate clubhouse and models, captivating move-in ready homes. The first 5 are really through the eyes of the prospect. It's really about attracting them to our community and what sets us apart. Once the prospect comes in, it's a matter of seconds before they make their decision. And it all starts with the marketing. We have the right marketing tools. Are we marketing to the right market? Mm-hmm. Then the curb appeal, once they come and drive past our property and they see that our curb appeal is clean, is attractive, it automatically draws them in. And then the cherry in the ice cream is the team. Once they walk in and they see a professional staff that's groomed, that's enthusiastic about them being here, that's knowledgeable about the product.
And the last 5 is actually going to be on how we retain our residents. Market-based rental rates, superior customer service, mandatory qualifying criteria, maximize resident retention, delinquency never accepted. We want to create meaningful moments with all who walk through our door. You know, that's going to make the difference. That's going to make us stand out mm-hmm. from the other leasing office down the street. You know, it's all about service.
Absolutely.
Well, Mitch, I've been very impressed with this conversation today and seeing the talent that we have in the company for community managers.
Well, thank you both for being here. We appreciate everything that you represent about First Communities, your approach to your job, and it shows in the results that you guys deliver on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and how your teams excel and buy into what you're doing. So we appreciate all of that. I want to say thank you to Rob for allowing us to really re-emphasize Rob's Top 10, take a look at it in a different spin, and bring folks like this into their office and talk about it. Well, I'm excited about the future, and certainly looking back on the past and where we've come and how we've utilized Rob's Top 10 and how we will continue to utilize Rob's Top 10 in the future. I can't say enough about the future and the next 40 years and how we can continue to impress upon these basic fundamentals that Rob's Top 10 has given all of us, and it's exciting to think about what the future has in store for all of us. Thank you guys for being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you.